Hey folks, welcome to day 103 of our devlog. We're going to have a look at tooltips. I had three things in mind, but I forgot one of them. So, follow on from last night, we actually created a new thing for the stag, which is similar to the pig, right? So let's have a quick look at that before we start looking at tooltips and stuff. Right. So what I've done is I've created a new thing for this. You can see there. And that's cool. We also have the one for the pig. Right. Oh. So you can see we've got the one for the pig there, which is cool. Right. Something weird going on there, that's for sure. Right, so we've created a new button for our deer that goes along with the one we made last night for the pig. So if you want to see how I went about making the pig one, you'll see it for last night. I went through a similar thing this morning with the deer one. But what we really need to do now is we need to look at our widgets for crafting, right? And in our crafting main, right, when we actually do the fill inventory grid, we're going to have to pass in, well, actually not the fill inventory grid, it's going to be fill the crafting grid, right? And what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to add a third input. And that's going to be mode and probably crafting mode, right? And the interesting thing here is when we build these grids up, right, we're going to have to take into account which one we want to work with, right? Because basically we're going to be doing the same thing as this, right? But we're going to be doing the food, right? So we're basically going to be pulling off of this, and we're going to be doing a switch, right? We're going to have to be dragging this down probably. In fact, we shall move this up. Let's be tidy about this, shall we? Right. So we'll kind of keep these. We're going to straighten to the root. Okay. So basically we're going to be pulling along to here. And we've got to think about this one for a second or two, which we can do, of course. Sip of coffee. Now, funnily enough, this actually means that if we look at this button needs to go. Right, because the food one isn't relevant anymore. Right, because it's only relevant to our cooking. Okay? That's kind of the point we're getting to here. So, let's tidy some of this up. Right, so if it's not show all, right, now what we're going to do here is we need this basically here. In fact, no we don't. We need it beforehand. Right. Now we could do it either way. Try to think of the best way to do this that makes the most sense. Right. So what I'm thinking here is we'd be better doing this basically here. Okay. So what we want is we want to do it here. right? And let's drag this back a bit. I've got to ask you guys a question if there's anybody in chat, right? Lucid Dreams the other day mentioned having a 1,000 subscriber party. So I'm guessing that's some kind of a stream, right? Now the question is, what would you like me to do for that? Because what I was thinking was, I do like a retro gaming thing where I play all the arcade games and you can all laugh at me because I'm completely rubbish. Right, so this one here, so the type equals that. And this is not equal to food. Right? So that equals that, and that is not equal to food. So we do that, and that, and that goes in there. Right, which means we'll probably need a bit of tidying up. Well, we could push that in a bit. It is a bit messy. Now, if it is cooking, we just need to do basically this part here. Right, so we need to copy that and paste it. Right, but there is something else we need to do here. We do need to do this part, so we shall copy that and paste it. Right. Oopsie. So basically what we do here we'll join the rest of this up later. Right, but we'll get it in line, kinda. Right, and this is going to go basically it would be best just doing a reroute node, right? And that is fine. Right. So we can drag that along a bit and do kind of that. Right. Right, so this item image goes in there. We can sort that out. And I believe this goes in here. Then we can do that. Then the item name goes in here. Right, now there's one more thing we need to do here. Basically pull that across. A couple of things we need to do actually. Just from a tidying up point of view. Right, we just need to drop this down a bit. Get another one, drag that out a bit, and we're looking good. And the final thing is we've got to say that this equals food. Right, and that is it for our food. So this is a crafting one. Right, so we basically do this, but we say if it's not food, right? And we're never going to select food because we're going to take the food button out of the normal crafting. But if we're in crafting mode, if we're in cooking mode, it's going to only select food. Okay? So we can basically test this. And I think at this point, it's not going to show anything, or the result I'm expecting here is for it not to show us anything here, except it did. Wait a minute. I don't think I've set this. No, that's a crafting table. Right, so hang on a minute. What we're going to do is going to craft in main. We need to set this. Right, so in our event graph, we get the crafting mode. Right. Now we could either do that or do this. Although having said that, that does say crafting. And that says show all. Wait a minute. We've got one more thing to do. So basically I am going to take that off, right, and then we're going to add we are going to use that, but I'll just redo it. Okay, so we're going to go here. Okay, we can pull this along a bit. We can pull that along a bit. Right, we can do that. We can say equals and then not equal to food. Okay. And then we're going to branch that as well. So if it's not equal to food, we're going to do our thing. Okay, so we're going to save that. Then we're going to do a save all. Right, and we should now have our two, and I'll tell you what we'll do. We shall do that. Right, and we'll put 40. And we don't really want to we can do that. Right, we can move this along a bit. That's all good. And we can move that to there, and that's all super duper. Then we can grab this same way. Right, and this is going to be cooking. Don't know why that didn't take, but anyway, cooking. Cancel that. And we're going to 40. Right, that should be fine. Drag that over a bit. And there we go. Right, we could, if we wanted to, drag these back a bit. And that makes it more obvious. And there we go. Right, so now I'm expecting when we go in here, it's going to show us nothing. Right? That's what I expected, so I'm not worried about that. But when we go in here, it shows us our 2, right? And you'll notice we have no mouse overs for this. Okay. Which is fine. So we need a recipe mouse over. Tooltip. So with that in mind, what we need to do now is have a look at our widgets again. So we've got our craft item tooltip, which is this here, and I'm pretty sure this is just a copy of what we were doing before. Right, so in the first instance, what we need to do is we need to have a look at our crafting item, right? And we've got a craft item tooltip. Now, if I remember right here, tooltip enabled, we're going to set it to true. Right. We're going to switch that back on. In fact, what we'll do is we'll switch this off, right? We'll save this. Then when you first come in here, when this is first created, right, tooltip should be set to true. Right, so in fact what we'll do is we'll do it through the custom event. So we'll say tooltip on. Okay. Now this tooltip's going to have to change. Originally it was a copy of the inventory one, which makes sense, but obviously it's actually not going to be that. It's going to be a recipe. So yeah, we'll need to have a look at that and see what we want to do with that. So we'll go back to here. Alright. You can see that we've got our, well, we've got something, but it's not right. Okay. So let's have a look at that then. So when the point here is when we create this tooltip, right, on hovered, create tooltip. Now we need to pass the data in, which is going to be this thing here probably. It's going to be either the item name or this. Okay. So it's actually going to be this number. So we've got the craft tooltip. Right, and we're going to add a variable. So we're going to say recipe item row number. Right, and that is going to be a name. We're going to save that. Then we're going to make it expose on spawn. We're going to save that. we're going to go to your crafting item. And the interesting thing here is we've got this item data, but it's not item data that we actually want, right? Because this is an inventory item, and that's actually not what we want, right? So we're going to take that away, but first we'll get the thing that we actually want. So I'm going to refresh node on that, right? I'm going to put our number here. Then we're going to put a breakpoint to make sure that we're passing that through. Okay. And this is going to let us look in our recipe table. Right, so there we go. And we've got our number, which is fine. So what we can do here is we can get the first part right from the interactable item, and then we can get the recipe from the recipe table. Okay. So that's all good. We're going to save that, right? Then we're going to go into our crafting tooltip. Now the interesting thing here is we've got our inventory item in quantity, right? But that's not really what we want, but that's okay. We're cool with that. Right, so we're going to do that. I'm going to leave. Right. What we're going to do at this point is do that. Right. Because it's kinda not what we want, but it is doing a few things like setting names and stuff, right? But what we really want to do is have a look at this, right? Now what we're probably going to have to do is make this a bit bigger. Right, but in the short term, let's do a thing. Let's do our thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to get data table row. Okay, and it's going to be interactable. Items main. And it's going to be this number here. Okay, then we're going to drop it off our row. We're going to break that, right? And you know what? What we could do is, right, let's just try and do this bit by bit, right? So we'll drop that in there. And we're not really doing that. Right, what we're actually doing is grabbing this and putting it there. Which means that we really don't need to set this at all. But we'll take that out in a minute. Right, and the next thing we'll do we've got the item name here. So we can literally just plug it straight in there. Then we've got the weight and the description. So we can literally just go like that. Do we have a description? Yeah, we do. Right, so we could do that, and let's see what that gives us. Okay, we'll remove that. How about that? Right. So, we've got a nice tooltip working, or at least the start of it. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is we're going to do one or two more things. Right. I think what we're going to do, right, first of all we're going to look in here. Okay, no we're not, we're looking at this, designer. Right. Right, we've got our image item there, right? So what I want to do is I want a text. Right, and that text is going to go there. Right, and this is going to be, we're going to look in our string tables, then we're going to go in game, and then we're going to add a new one. So it's going to be recipe. Now that can be for both cooking and crafting, right? We don't need, because crafting will have a recipe, cooking will have a recipe, right? So all we need to do is that. Then we can go to our tooltip, and then basically st in game and recipe. Okay, then we can center it and we can check the font is 24. Right, so we can basically say that one 24. And I don't think we really need to bother about a weight on this one. What I could do is have less of a space, right? And then just have like a recipe with, don't know. We could have a uniform grid with basically 3 or the number of boxes we need for the actual recipe. If it's got I mean, for cooking, a lot of them might only need one thing. So this would be like items required. Right. But this is probably going to have to be in another box, so it'd be like items required. This text block would go right, so we'd basically remove that, then we'd remove that. We'll say yes to that because we don't need the weight. The weight is going to change. Right, and that's going to go to here. So we'll call that recipe items, and we'll say items required. Okay. Then in here, that's not going to be that, and that's going to be in game. It's going to be recipe items. Then it's going to be centered. Okay, and then we're going to have to create another thing basically. Right, we'll drag this down a bit. Right, so yeah, we're going to have to do that. Okay, but going well so far. Now, do we really need that? And do we really need that much space? We could minimize the space and then put recipe and put this as like bold or whatever. Right. Not really sure how I want to do this actually. Right, so I tell you what, I'm going to delete that, I'm going to delete that, then I'm going to center that, I'm going to change this, right, and what we're going to do is replace it with, I really wanted to replace it with a spacer. Right, so we'll go to our spacers. So that's primitive. Right, we'll bang a spacer and damn. Right, we'll place it there. Right, now it's actually going to go in there. Then we're going to delete that. Then our spacer, let's say 10. Then yeah, that should do us, right? Not too much of a space. Not too small, not too big. Right, now this description right, it can actually go down a bit, right, but what we'll do is, if you're enjoying the stream, hit like and subscribe. I'm going to take a short break for a cigarette, so don't go anywhere, guys. Check out the links in the description for Discord servers, Patreon, my previous game on Steam, Kickstarter preview and website, and I shall be back in a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. Alright, we're back. And let's get on with this. Let's do something at least, right? So, after this, I think what we should do is create our recipe widget, right? So that when we change the recipe widget, we're not going to have to do it within our thing. So what we'll do is we'll go to here, widget, w_recipe. Then we'll go into here in the first instance. Right, we're going to need our event construct, that's for sure. Don't need anything else, but we're going to add a variable, and it's going to be recipe row ID. Let's say number. Okay, that's going to be a name. We're going to instance editable, expose on spawn. Save that. Right, we've got our canvas panel. Then what we'll do is probably a grid. Right, so put grid, and that's going to be GP underscore items. That's going to be a variable. I'm going to save that. I'm going to go back to our graph, and we're going to need a call count. We're not going to need a row count. Right, that's going to be an integer. Compile that, do that. Then basically on event construct, we're going to get, not that, data table, get table row, right, and that's going to be recipe. Then we're going to get a variable, and it's going to be recipe. That's going to be struct recipe. Then we're going to set this. Then we can use this variable from now on. Right, so we're going to basically say ingredients. Wait a minute. So we're going to grab that, we're going to break it. Right, and it's going to say requirements. Then we're going to do for each. We're going to drag that in there. Then we're going to get data table row, and that's going to be interactable items main. That's going to go to there. We're going to drag that out. We're going to break that. That's going to go in there. So that's going to give us what we want. Okay. And And the next thing we're going to have to do is create another widget. Right. Going to create a widget, and that's going to be W underscore recipe item. Right. And it's going to kind of be like this, except it's actually not. It's just going to be an image. Right, so I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll delete that and we'll just have an image. Right, and that's going to be image item. Okay. So in here we're going to create widget, and actually our image item, we're going to create a variable called image, and that's going to be texture 2D, and we're going to expose that on spawn. Right, we're going to delete all of them. No, we're not. We're going to delete that. We're going to delete that. Then we're going to get image item. Then we're going to say brush from texture. Then we're going to set it from here. We might need to do a bit of jiggery pokery, because it might not work very well, but we'll find out in a minute. Hi, Cat Eats Chips Osumania. I had a look at your website earlier. Is that all games you were playing? And if it was, which I think it was, I've never seen any of them in my life. Well, I wouldn't put any. Right, so that's going to be recipe item. So we go to row found, we get the row out, then we get the image, and then we say hide unconnected pins. Right, then basically we get our GP items, add child to grid, right, and our content is that. We we get call count. And then we say call count increment. And that should be you. Oh, by the way, thank you for the subscribe, by the way. That's how I could look at your website, your YouTube page. I normally check people out who subscribe to see if they've got anything interesting to have a look at. And I think I even subscribe back just to help you out. Right, so we're doing a for each loop, then we're doing it. And then, if we go back to crafting main, actually crafting tooltip, then what we want to do is W recipe, and it's after this one. But there. I wonder why that, well, it's probably because this one's got a, yeah. Okay, well, we can try this. Yes, the pig is complete, and we've also got a deer. Piggy boy is complete. I can show you if we go to standard thingamybobs. We've got piggy cuts, and we've got deer cuts. Then we've got pork chop. Right, so these are now becoming, this is the things I need at least a couple of examples for me to actually do. Right, so that's kind of why we're doing this, because we need these. So what we've done now is, if you notice, well, you probably didn't notice because it didn't happen, right? But craft tooltip. Right, so what's going on here? Oh yeah, we don't need that anymore. That's the weight. Right, so we're not using the weight anymore. Right. This is all to do with the tooltip for the actual crafting. It's what I'm working on right now. Right, we've done the stuff that regulates what actually shows up here, so you can see that there's nothing to craft because we don't have any actual crafting items. Right, everything that we had as far as crafting goes was in the food department, so it has basically become food, right? So if we do that, we've got our two different crafting items, and now we've got that, right? And that's all cool. But obviously our items weren't coming in, right? So we need to find out why that isn't coming out. And this should actually, you see that's not doing anything, but it should. So we need this. So that's good. We've not got a recipe row number. Right, well that's a problem. So when we create this, we need the recipe row number, which probably means that we don't need that. We need the parent and then get it from the parent. Yes, it's survival thriller. I would call it survival thriller. I wouldn't call it survival horror, because there isn't going to be any real jump scares as such, I don't think. It's survival thriller with RPG crafting elements. Right, so this thing here isn't what we want. Right, what we're going to do is delete that. Right, but what we're going to do is we're going to say parent right, oh wait a minute, that's not right. That was right. No, we do want a parent, right? We do want a parent, but parent is actually going to be parent, and the parent is the craft item tooltip, right? And we're going to pass that in at the time. So now we're going to get that, and then we're going to say row get recipe item row number, and that is going to go in there. Then we can do that. Whoopsie doops. Right, so we're going to save that. Then when we do our crafting item and we do our hover, right, that's okay, and it's our tooltip. Right, so that's okay as well, I think. Let's try that again. Hi, Animix God, how are you? Or, as you would like to say, hey-o. Right, so now the question is, that didn't work. The parent is none. Right, so when we create W recipe, it ain't doing squat diddly. Right? Okay. Right, so get parent. Right, and we're gonna have to cast it to interesting. Cast to it's craft item tooltip. Who, me? I don't know what you mean. You'll have to be a little more specific. Could be doing it that way. Panel widget. Okay. So that's a bit of a bummer. I want to break it here. See what I've got. Cat eats chips. What graphics card do I have? I've got two 980 Ti's. Right, now I want to see what this is. Yeah, it's crafting tooltip. It's not a matter of that, it's... We've done a lot of profiling and optimizing to make sure that everything works as it should. Right. So we've hit a bit. A bit of an issue. So we're going to do this slightly different. Right. What we're actually going to do is something completely different. We're going to keep this code because it's still relevant, right? So what I'm going to do is basically copy this. Right, and then I'm going to delete that. And then in our actual craft item tooltip, right, we're going to get this W recipe and we're going to replace it with a grid panel, right? And then our grid panel, this is the one GP, let's call it recipe items. It's going to be a variable. We're going to save it. And then in our graph, right, we'll tidy this all up in a minute, right? But we're basically going to do that. This is going to go in there, right? And we'll say add a custom event. This is just to split it up basically. And we'll say add recipe items, right? This will plug directly into there. We shall compile that. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is start adding these variables back in. So what we'll do is we'll say recipe, and that's going to be struct recipe. Are you going to work? Yeah, we're changing that variable. Yeah, slowly but surely we get there. I was hoping by some miracle we'd get it this weekend, but I doubt it. I think it's going to be really boring. I think it's going to happen like on the Tuesday or Wednesday next week. Going by the way everything is, that's what will happen. Right. We're not doing that. We are going to add call count. And that's going to be an integer. refresh that. We're down to 1. We've got a target here, and now we know we've got our GP recipe items that can go in there. And now in theory, if we call this at the end of this, right, once we tidy all this crap up, we'll be fine. So that's going to get deleted. We don't actually need any of that. Right. We can hide these. $4.27. It's going to go there. That can go there. That can get deleted. That can get deleted. That can get deleted. I can tidy that up a bit. Right, so that looks a bit better, don't you think? We can compile that, and now we've got no errors. We can drag that in a bit, then go like that. Then we can move this. And then we can basically call add recipe items. Hi Kek Sakubi. Right, so this, it's going to probably end up looking like crap, but this should work. We can work on the looking like crap part, right? But what we're doing is just getting the logic right to fill up our tooltip. Interesting. Okay. Let's try that again, shall we? So it does do something. Step over. Step over. So it's not finding whatever recipe this is. Right? There's a lot more cool stuff than that, Kek. That's recipe item row number. Right, I'm going to do that again. I want to know, basically I want to know what number that is. Right, this number here. Right, so I don't think we even, 19. Okay, so if we look in the recipes now, we'll need to stop it. And it's DT interactable. Right, So basically, we don't want this. Well, sorry, we want this. If we don't have this, then we're going to have to do a loop through to find this number, and then we can do it from here. Makes no difference either way. It'd be easier obviously if we have the cooked pork name. That would be the easier option, but it doesn't really matter. Right, so what do we have here? This item data. Right, I don't know if this is we don't actually fill that in, right? So this isn't the row name. Right? So basically we need for next. Sorry, we need a for each with break. Okay. And we need a get data table row names. Right. Bear with me here, guys. We'll sort this out in a minute. Right. So we're going to do that. And this we're going to break that, and we're going to break that, right? Then this is going to move down a bit. Right, and we're going to be doing a for each loop on this. Then we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing that. Then on our out row, we're going to break. Right? And we're going to say if that equals that, then we're going to branch. Right. We'll move this down out the way again, but we're all good. That's going to go to there. That's going to go to there. We're going to click on that. We're going to do that. We can basically drag that down and across. That's fine. We'll drag this up a bit into there. And then if we set the recipe, then we break, because we've found the right row. Okay, and we don't need to loop any further than that. And there we go. And disable breakpoint. then basically this now goes in here, and we pop in the recipe and we get it. Then this goes here. Then we click on that, hide unconnected pins, and that's us. Okay. Right, as I said, this might still look like complete crap, might make it look really weird, but the idea here is to get our tooltip fixed with the right images of the right ingredients. Right, we'll disable that, resume that, it's going to go away again. There we go, there's a little pig, and I pointed it on the screen, right? But there you go, there's a little pig, and there's our goat. Okay. Now all we need to, I told you it was going to look a bit weird, right? But we can fix that. That's okay. We're not completely mucked that up yet, because what we can do, right, is we're not going to set the brush from texture, right? What we'll do is we'll get this and we'll just set the brush, and then we'll give it a specific size. Right. So we're going to make a slate brush. Right, and let's say we make it 64 by 64. Then we can drag that in there, save that, and try it again. Right. There you go. How's about that? You like that? And we're probably better just making it a little bit bigger. So we'll go 96 by 96. Right, we can always set this in a variable here if we wanted to. Right, now the other thing that I actually might want to do here is in our tooltip, what we could do is in here we could center it. Right, now we can press play. Cook, and there we go. Guys like it? You guys like it? I like it. I like it a lot. Now we can test this, right? Because what we could do is we can go into our actual recipes, right, and we can just add something else for a laugh, right? So in our cooked pork, right, say we want to add another requirement, what we can say is just basically add that there, right? Now this might be completely ridiculous, but we'll try it anyway. We'll just say 14, right, and we need one of them, so we can save that. Now I don't know what 14 is, but we'll soon find out. I think I know what it is, but we'll soon find out. Right. There we go. Damn cool, huh? So, that was probably the stupidest thing ever actually, but if we go to our here, right, that's 20 and 4, right? So let's say we'd be better actually not with 14 but 4, right? Now the other thing here is for a recipe item, probably probably we should have done a border. We could always stick a border on this, right, and then just put padding on it. Right, because we really need a little bit of padding. Not much, but a little. Let's see, craft tooltip, GP. Now that's for the whole GP items, right? What I really want is, yeah, it would have been nice to have a little bit of border, but it's a pedantic touch at this point. What I might do is do it offline, because I'll just be basically adding a border to that particular widget, and then just basically putting a bit of padding on it, a tiny bit, right? But you'll notice now that's pretty cool. Right, then we've not got any, so we can't cook it, nothing in our inventory, right? So we can do that, right? We can do that, and it will show it in our inventory, but we won't be able to do anything with it, right? So blah blah blah. So all cool. So I'm happy with that. That is pretty good. We've basically got what we wanted to. And it's coming along nicely. Right, so if you guys have enjoyed that, that's a good place to stop, by the way, right? So I'm not going to mess about for 20 minutes, try to think of something else quick to do. This is a good place because this is the two things that I wanted to get done, which we've successfully done. We've got a recipe showing up and it shows multiple items, etc, etc. And that's basically what we wanted. So as I said, if you've enjoyed it, hit like and subscribe. I shall be back in about 4 hours time, just over, at 8 PM Central. Check out the links in the description, there's plenty of them, for Discord for the game, Discord for my personal one, plus Patreon and my previous game on Steam, plus Kickstarter preview and website. So thank you very much for watching. Again, hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed your company. I shall see you tonight. And basically, bye bye for now.